through good runners already in this tournament and should be, bringing their A game to battle here in round 3. VoidbornBeast 2-0 after beating Alredis in round 1 and Bwain in round 2. Bwain, a very good runner, someone I expected making a push for brackets. And Jenja23 through CDV and Vuligin, also very good runners. What do you think the runners are going to get from Uncle today? Looks like they are on their way and already finding a bomb capacity upgrade in Link's uncle's house.
Yeah, I've seen a lot of Cane of Samarias and bows so far. Hammer is also relatively easy to use, and of course the Fire Rod. So I'm hoping for a Cane of Burn or a bomb start this time. What about you?
I've seen so many bomb starts. I didn't see if the uncle was carrying a sword leaving, but that's such a rarity. So I'm gonna try and hope that it's nice. I'm voting for bow start. You didn't mention the bow yet, so we'll go bow start. Bow starts are always pretty good. They set you up to go to Eastern, but alas, it is the much maligned Cane of Burna.
Yeah, I guess that's the commentator's curse right there. But yeah, let's see if they can find another weapon. And talking about another weapon, there's the sword.
Well then, the runner's getting bailed out. Reminds me of the other night in one of the dailies, we got Cane of Burna and then immediately half magic, and it made it suck a lot less. And I'm sure the runners are very, very happy to see this sword here. That's going to eliminate a lot of their magic concerns that they otherwise would have to contend with as they're trying to farm up for bombs. Because with just Cane of Burna, you're really, really tight on magic in terms of how many enemies you can afford to farm without going out of your way to grab extra magic pots.
Yeah, that is true. So they will use their sword as the main weapon for the escape sequence. However, using the Cane of Burna in the snake room in the sewers is a very nice way to farm up bombs if they don't farm up their bombs right here.
Yeah, that's a good point. There are a couple particularly item-dense locations. Looks like Jenja was going for something that looked kind of like the NMG strat on that guard, since the runners do have the fighter sword. VoidbornBeast just using the Cane of Burna there on the blue guard in the first key guard room. But so far, no bomb drops. That's the runners are pretty much going to farm everything that gets in their way, looking for bomb drops so they can get the 3 items in the back of escape on their first pass through. But otherwise, we're pretty much just going to see them go through as fast as possible here, making their way to the sanctuary. Let's see, Jenja also going for an NMG strat there in the second room here for the second blue key guard, and finding the power glove. It's a nice pickup there.
Yeah, that sure is. But because if they aren't able to farm up any bombs during the escape, they can easily get back here through the cemetery and use the bomb once they get bombs in the overworld.
Yeah, that's one of the biggest concerns for farming a bomb early, is the threat that power glove and that access to wherever you need to go, that progress might be in the back of escape, and needing to go through the front and walk the whole way back through the escape again once you do have bombs, say from purchasing in Kakariko or whatever. That's what the runners are farming so hard to avoid, and now that they have the power glove, even if they can't get that bomb, it'll be a lot easier for them to get back in.
Yeah, absolutely. And I've seen already a lot of runners actually forgetting that it's, of course, possible to get back to your escape through the front half. You always get the light cone, and you don't necessarily need the gloves to access the back of the escape.
Yeah, that's one of the last things that most players want to do in sort of early game progression. And so when it comes up, it feels really, really bad. Unless, of course, you gamble on early, and then you feel like a wizard. But the runners are not going to want to see that, and thankfully they're not going to have to see that today. So far, no bomb drops, though. We'll see if... nope, Jenja is just plowing through, just taking that guard RNG in that hallway and just saying, I'm going to get to the back and make or rats, but he's past the green guard farm. And looks like, okay, Voidborn is going to farm some of the guards, so falling a little bit behind, paying a little bit of time to do it, but both runners are on a really good pace so far.
Yeah, that is true. Your typical good escape time is about 6 minutes or a little above, and I saw some runners already get below the 6 minute mark. Of course, probably Jenja and VoidbornBeast will be aiming to farm up those bombs here in the sewers with either the snake room or the red room coming up. And Jenja going for the Cane of Burner strats, like I mentioned, unfortunately not getting any bomb drops just yet.
Yeah, so this is a little inconvenient. We may see Jenja get a little more aggressive with the farm. They're getting a red rupee drop in. Ooh, an ice rod. That's a nice find there.
That's a very nice rod. If Turtle Rock is required, you don't have to search all over the place. Yeah, getting that out of your way. And Jenja indeed going for the mouse room there, but opts to skip over the other mouses or mice on the upper area. And seems to be just continuing, so hopefully he'll still get a bomb drop from these reds right here. Getting the key red.
Yeah, and we saw VoidbornBeast did go for that cluster of rats in the upper right corner of that first water room. Unfortunately, still no bomb drops, so Voidborn paying a little bit more committing to really trying to farm up for these bombs, and now Jenja is all in on those rats, but nothing. Left a couple behind, but wasn't going to chase them down all over the room. And so he will need to come back here to check the back part of the escape if he decides he wants to check those locations.
Yep,
and looks like... Sorry, go ahead.
Oh, yeah, having used those NMG strats, Jenja gets a pretty good time of around 6 minutes exiting the escape and being rewarded with another 50 rupees. And unfortunately, VoidbornBeast also not getting that bomb drop, but that is good for a race because both of our runners will have to get back to the escape sequence at some point of time if there's something valuable in the back.
And it looked like we had a 3 crystal light world there. We got that map check there from Jenja. See if he's going to head up to Lumberjack Cave, but it looks like he is just going to head into the Lost Woods and leave the Lumberjack for later.
Yeah,
and we'll see what Voidborn does here. How do you feel about these early decisions?
It's good to see some divergence because it seems like VoidbornBeast is going for that Lumberjack Cave check, which I completely agree. And Jenja picking up the lamp in Lost Woods and getting back about the 3 crystals in the light world. The thing is, I'm not sure if it's a good thing because in V29, I've seen a lot of actually pendant dungeons being required in the dark world, so that's a scary thought.
Yeah, and Jenja at the Vanilla Mushroom spot in the Lost Woods did find the lamp, and VoidbornBeast got a Hoarder Crab full of bombs. The Tier 2 tree pull, only green rupees. Looked like Jenja didn't bother to check the tree pull at all. See if Voidborn is going to check the Tier 1 pull here in a second, see if it might be something more valuable than green rupee, but at this point he's already got his bombs from the Hoarder Crab, which Jenja didn't check any of the Hoarder Crabs. There are 2 up that way. And so he is going to have to do kind of bottom to top CAC and spend 50 rupees on bombs.
Yeah, that is true. Interesting that he skipped out on pulling the tree or going for the Hoarder Crab. However, he did try to pick up some of the rocks close to the, I think, what's it called? The look to the future guy. And I think there's a 50% chance of a bomb drop over there as well.
Okay, I didn't know there were 50-50 rocks over there. That's a good piece of knowledge. And VoidbornBeast, from whatever prize pack those crows are part of, getting an 8 bomb drop there. He is absolutely rich in explosives here. Jenja having to pay 50 bucks for his explosives. But he is still set up to be able to pay the bottle vendor, so now his early game is back on track. Really, Voidborn up the knowledge that Lumberjack Cave is... It may be essential for progression. Or no, never mind, they have the Cane of Burn already, so it's completely unessential, but it's yet unknown whether Aghanim is required. I was only thinking about whether that shield might be useful because of laser bridge logic, but there's Cane of Samaria in the well for Jenja. I'm sure VoidbornBeast is walking right over there right now. He'll be getting it soon. But that's a nice find early on.
Yeah, that's a very good thing to get out of the way, because the King of Samaria also makes that check in Skull Woods of the upper room with the annoying Gyptos chest a lot more easy. And of course, if you decide to full clear, I think Ice Palace, you can also put the block on the button below there, and you don't have to do the bomb jump, and it's a little bit faster than bomb jumping.
Absolutely, and with only fighter sword, that mummy statue room in Skullwoods especially, because that's a pretty early on place as far as access for Dark World logic. That's one of the spots that runners are always really happy to have that Cane of Samaria for. Also with Cane and Ice Rod, we might be seeing the seed open up Turtle Rock pretty early. We're a good ways away from that, but it is something to kind of keep on the radar.
Yep, the seed might lead you in that direction. And I believe Jenja did not check the race game or the library yet, but he opts instead to go back to the cemetery and pick the 3 remaining chests and escapes with a big 20, a heart container, and the map.
Yeah, which no blame on him opening that 3rd chest and finding the map. I have a feeling with all the panic for looking for bombs that he just wasn't considering it, and it didn't cost that much time anyway. We'll see if VoidbornBeast goes back and chooses to skip that 3rd chest knowing it's the map or not. But no faulting the runners for kind of missing that little piece of information. I make that mistake all the time.
Oh yeah,
but it looks like
go ahead.
Yeah, it looks like Jenja's going South Shore here. But I did like getting back to knock out that back of escape location, and ooh, hook shot for Jenja. And what's the race game gonna have today? VoidbornBeast just going right on in and does not want the arrow capacity. Unsurprising.
That is good for Jenja, because he didn't check the library or the race game, and the library only having a big 20 will not cost him that much, of course, almost nothing. However, picking up that heart container in the back of escape is pretty nice, I guess, in the early game with only green tunic, and Jenja picking up the blue goo in the next to the dam, so we'll be able to turn that in the sick kid and get his item as well once we get back to Kakariko.
Yeah, and the runners now have full logic access to Light World Death Mountain, excepting Hammer or Mirror for the very top items, but East Death Mountain is now open with that hook shot and the lamp and the gloves, so I kind of want to see Jenja find his way up there sooner than later because of just how many items are up that way. We'll see what the play is here after Mini Moldorm Cave.
Oh, definitely. I would totally agree with the play to East Death Mountain already, because it has 8 treasure chests, and if they find the Moon Pearl and the Myths over there, with the hookshot in hand, you can check out Hookshot Cave for another 4 treasure chests, and of course Super Bunny Cave for another 2 treasure chests.
Yeah, and like you said, 8 locations, finding something good like that over that way, whether it be a mitt or a hammer or whatever it may be, not that unlikely just because of how much value there is over there. Also with the hookshot, the runners have the ability to check the stun prize. We saw VoidbornBeast stun that Octorok but not kill it. I'm a little curious what the stun prize is in this seed. Have you seen it on Jenja's screen yet? I didn't notice.
Yeah, I didn't quite catch that. Usually it's very nice if the stun prize is, for example, a big 20, or for example, arrows or bombs if you're low on bombs or arrows in, for example, Ganon's Tower. However, all runners both have enough money to pay off Zora already, so that's very good to get out of the way, and they won't be needing to stun any more enemies just for cash.
Yeah, it looks like Jenja is making that play up to Death Mountain and also doubling up with that Lumberjack Cave. Pausing a little when he sees that the Hoarder Crab under the rock starts spitting out bombs, probably a little bit of consternation there. But he's going to make his way up to Death Mountain, whereas Voidborn is going to be finding information about what is up in Ice Rod Cave, an early on location that Jenja elected to skip. So if this is something, this could prove to be kind of a a little bit of an advantage for Voidborn. We will find out it is just a small magic drop for the stun prize today. That bomb took out that crab.
Yep, that is true. I actually read in VB's biology that he likes to do some thorough checking. He doesn't want to miss out on anything. So I can completely understand why he makes this play. And finding, the blue mill, a very nice defense to have early on.
Yeah, VoidbornBeast did say that he likes to be very thorough in his player bio, and he likes to see mail and hookshot early, so he is set, and no flips. So looks like maybe he doesn't want to see flips because he wants to sequence break and do these fake flippers. So we'll see if it pays off. This is a very interesting call. This might just be how he opens every seed, but I'm a little surprised to see this play with Death Mountain looming.
Yeah, that is true. So he'll be able to check out the floating island, which has only a heart piece today, and after that go to Hobo. If he chooses to go up to the Zora area, he will not be able to pick up the treasure chest in the waterfall cave because you need to Moon Pearl in order to get the waterfall glitch. But meanwhile, Jenja finding the Master Sword in Paradox Cave. And there's our Moon Pearl.
And that, with that, we have Aghanim access. So we can go Dark World through Aghanim, and with the hookshot and the glove, that opens up a lot of Dark Worlds. So the Aghanim index is ticking steadily forward, and
did you see what I just saw?
I'm very happy about that.
Did you see what VoidbornBeast just picked up?
Yeah, he sequence broke his way right into the Archer class over at the Hobo.
Oh yes.
We should have known. I mean, we call it the Hobo. What else could there be but the Archer class?
Very, very true. Maybe a quiver upgrade.
But yeah, this break and setting up Eastern, which is going to be an early crystal for Voidborn, this location, setting up to be a more valuable check for Voidborn early, depending on where the flippers are. This could be very downstream for Jenja if he stays in logic.
Yeah, that is true. And VoidbornBeast talking to Sahasrara, finding out that today our green pendant will be in Misery Mire.
Yeah, which green pendant and Mire, Sahasrara can't be keeping our flute or our mitts today, so that's always nice to know. And wow, a third sword already there, known on Spectacle Rock. So, Death Mountain full of swords today. I guess the first sword was there in the Escape, the second one in Paradox Cave, and the third on Spectacle Rock. I wonder if we're going to find the fourth one.
Yeah, well, it could be very, very elusive. Could be very close at hand as well. I think we've seen a lot of seeds with early swords, but a lot of seeds, with one item being elusive at all times. And Jenja also making the play for the eastern area. Of course, probably wants to skip Aghanim if possible, looking for the other glove upgrade or the hammer. And we haven't seen Agana yet as well as Eastern Palace.
Yeah, Sahasrara's closet not turning up too much, and so far Eastern also pretty blank. We'll see if Jenja heads over into Eastern to dive just for the items, and looks like he is doing that. I was gonna say, or if without the bow he decides to stay away, but I think at this point he wants to say, do I really have to go do Aghanim? Is that really what you're gonna make me do, Seed? And so the worst case scenario here would be something where that Dark World access happened to be behind flippers on, say, Armos Knights, where VoidbornBeast, this break could potentially carry around Aghanim.
Yeah, that would be quite terrible for Jenya, resulting into maybe a 4 or 5 minute loss having to do Aghanim's tower. But we're still, yeah, ways from that. But yeah, Aghanim is definitely calling, looking at that lamp and that Master Sword.
So far, Eastern not turning up anything, but because both runners are here, neither runner is going to get much of an advantage, but we know that Voidborn is going to be able to finish the dungeon because of having the bow, whereas Jenya's not going to find it here. It's over at the hobo, behind the flippers, which are yet to be found.
Yeah, I wonder how late we're gonna see those flippers, because they might as well be hiding deep inside to the rock. I think we all have seen that a couple of times already in a randomizer career.
Yeah, laser bridge flippers and laser bridge bow are just a classic. They're a real favorite of mine.
Yeah, interesting though, because I think Jenya said he doesn't like flippers, so he might be going to try to sequence break if he doesn't find his Darkhold axes here in Eastern Palace.
Nah, that was Voidborn said he didn't like the flippers, but
Oh
Jenya,
yeah, I'm sorry.
Jenya
You're
was
correct.
saying he didn't like the cape because it's kind of a harbinger of Aghanim, and Lamp and Master Sword early, he cannot be feeling good. This is kind of like a cape that comes with increased offensive capabilities, and so it's good, but it doesn't feel good. Meanwhile, we see Voidborn is into the Zelda gamer room and is going to be able to finish things up. We'll see what sort of quick kill he likes to do here on his Armos Knights. There's so many different ones. It always intrigues me to see what each runner chooses to go for as kind of their style of choice. A trove of red rupees there for Voidborn. He's pretty set. Looks like he's going for bottom right strats. And Jenya, because of no bow, is going to have to save and quit out. And looks like bottom right to top right, and one of those Armos Knights getting around on him. But he's going to be able to clean this up pretty quickly. Getting below him, and 3 arrows straight to the face. Perfectly calculated, using all the arrows. And getting a fairy in a bottle, which is going to redundantly open Sick Kid, but Sick Kid was already in logic because we did have a bottle. So no broken progression downstream of bow, but that did break into a crystal for Voidborn, so I'm sure that he's happy about that.
Yeah, that's true. This is pretty good for Jenya, and I think looking the way he's going to check the Ice Road Cave, and he might be going back to set up those fake flippers and getting his bow. And of course, he has the Moon Pearl in hand, so he might opt to go to Waterfall Cave and to the Zora area as well.
Yeah, absolutely. That's something I fully expect Jenya to do from this point, from Ice Rod Cave, if he wants to go back and do a fake flipper setup. I think we will absolutely see that Waterfall Fairy Cave, as well as the rest of Zora's domain, which was not available or palatable to VoidbornBeast when he was doing his fake flippers to Hobo. He wanted to cash out with that bow and go and get into Eastern immediately. Of course, it didn't really pay off, but that is, 1 crystal down, so 6 to go.
Yep, always very good feeling if you pick up an early crystal in, let's say, about 15 to 20 minutes. And besides the options that our runners are opting for right now, we still have the Sick Kid unchecked, Aghanos Cave, and Zora within logic, having those gloves.
Exactly. Those are our within logic locations here, and otherwise we're looking in pretty short order at that push over to Aghanim. And so Jenya's going to be wrapping up these locations. I think that he's just going to want to avoid Aghanim at all costs, do it as the absolute last thing. That's how almost all runners feel about it, so not a surprise he's going to be breaking his way into the bow and probably feeling a little miffed about it. But looks like he is going to set up his reverse fake flippers here, getting it cleanly. Is going to be headed up to Zora's domain.
Very nice first try right there, and yeah, VoidbornBeast doing what Jenya already has done. We'll see his Tempered Sword sitting up on Spectral Rock, or Master Sword if he decides to check it before picking up his Master Sword. But yeah, I think Aghanim is already doing his happy dance on our table. Don't you think?
I've never seen Aghanim dance, and I think I could go the rest of my life without seeing it, but it might be happening. I'm just not going to look. I'm going to keep my fingers crossed for Agina's cave.
Yeah, same here. Or Zora, of course. Yeah, you don't wish that to any runner. Yes, and VoidbornBeast seeing that Master Sword sitting up Spectacle Rock.
Yeah, and just $25 in the Waterfall Fairy Cave. Going to be a little bit of a Zora refund, but I'm curious to see what Zora's got here, as well as the Zora Ledge, just for info. Just a big 20 there. So we have Zora, we have Sick Kid, and we have Agina's Cave, and then we have the Castle Tower.
Yes, that is true. But still, yeah, just the Glove Upgrade or the Hammer, yeah, would be sufficient for our Dark World access. So three chances, but still, there's our yeah, little piece of love from Zora. So only 2 options left for our runners to be able to avoid Aghanim.
Yeah, I think VoidbornBeast with those consternation slashes maybe feels a little bit of a disturbance as Jenya is crossing his fingers and walking over to the Sick Kid, thinking, "Kid, please, just hammer one time."
Yeah, wow, what is a Sick Kid doing with a hammer in his hands? Gloves, I think, sound more feasible.
And VoidbornBeast from Paradox Cave getting that Master Sword. And a Moon Pearl. And his first shield there. Maybe it'll deflect an attack at some point. And setting up for his bomb jump. Looks like a good spot. Looks like he should get this. Oh!
I think
he may have been 1 pixel too far to the right.
Yep, and meanwhile, Jenya buying up all Sick Kid's love, his whole heart. Poor Sick Kid. We only have Aghanis Cave left, and Jenya, having not checked the library and the race game, will do that now because, of course, the race game might have that last glove upgrade or the hammer.
A 50-50 on Light World locations, and he says, "I'm still going to walk around and check it." And just seeing that arrow capacity upgrade, we'll see if this is straight to Agina's Cave or if it's straight to Aghanim.
Yeah, probably going to Aghanim right away, because having picked up that bow after having visited Eastern Palace, he might feel a little bit behind, and yeah, does want to put off that Aghanim check and just go for it.
Yeah, that's... We'll see if VoidbornBeast gets over to Agina's Cave prior to going to Castle Tower, but he's a few parts of the progression away from doing that, and so I think we'll be seeing a pair of dueling Castle Towers here in no time.
Yeah, that is correct. However, VoidbornBeast did not check out Zora yet. Neither did he give his bottle or show his bottle to Sick Kid, so he still has some options left before going to the tower.
It's always nice when you get to an area with a loadout similar to sort of main categories for the game, if you have experience with them. So watching Castle Tower with Master Sword, I'm just thinking, okay, this is exactly what I'm used to, and it feels so much more comfortable just doing things with equipment that you're used to doing. It looks like Voidborn is going to make that play right to Aghanim, so I guess we have a couple minutes off, but
yeah, you called it totally.
Yeah.
So well, how many
balls?
Yeah, that's exactly what I wanted to ask you. Well, I'm going for 4. I hope we will not be seeing 15, the dreaded 15.
Okay, I'm gonna say 2. I think the runners are gonna get a good Aga today.
I really hope so.
And looks like our tracker, Wolflink, so shout outs to Wolflink for his work on tracking, is also guessing 2 today.
Yeah, I think 2 or 3 are the most common numbers for blue balls.
Yeah, absolutely. And no one wants 3 because even though 3 is the most likely outcome, and oh, Jenny getting a little wrecked by Circle of Pots here, but cleans it up. That blue male putting in some work, but makes it through, gets his key. But yeah, 3 is the most.
Yeah, go ahead.
3 is the most likely outcome, but it also means that you're going to have 1 extra lightning cycle because of the way that Aghanim's attacks in 5 attacks, but only the first 4 are reasonable to deflect. And so no one wants that 3rd blue ball. You just say, okay, there goes 13 seconds. But with the runners being so thorough in Light World and the way the RNG, or lack of RNG as it would be, is kind of normalized in these randomizer seeds, the runners, if they perform optimally on Aghanim, will both endure the same sort of cycles. And the only thing that the runners can do is try and deflect Aghanim back to the center of the room as opposed to toward the walls, which we see Jenja doing. This does increase his mean path length for these teleports, so he could be saving a little bit of time, but these blue balls are just... Your 4 is looking more and more likely. Oof!
Yeah, there's 3 already. This could be the 15.
Yeah. Math Girl only needs to win 12 more successive coin flips, and we will be at 15. But, we'll see. Oh, we're 4 for 4.
Wow. Chet's curse.
Yeah, okay, well there's the first one. It's usually around 7 in a row that I start just being like, okay, just give me the 15 already.
And there's another one, so that is 5, I believe.
Yeah, at 3, and then at 7, you get extra lightning cycles, so I'm rooting for fewer than 7. And okay, it looks like it was 5. Jenja not happy with that. Thinking, man, I wish I'd just walked over to Agina. No one's ever thinking, man, I wish I'd just walked over to Agina.
And here's our Dark World check by Jenja, and I believe we saw another pendant sitting in Thieves Town, and the 3rd pendant being in Turtle Rock.
Yeah, what a bad Dark World break. That is really unfortunate. After 3 Light World crystals, I mean, it is kind of reasonable. But with that early Ice Rod and Cane of Samaria, no one wants to ever see Pendant Thieves, and no one definitely wants to, with that early loadout, see Pendant T-Rock.
Yeah, that is true. One of my philosophies during this tournament and during V29 overall is that if Turtle Rock is a pendant, it's even more required somehow.
Yeah, V29 likes to force you into Turtle Rock. There are a lot of items there, but we've seen a lot of races already in this tournament decided by Turtle Rock, and Jenja was headed for Palace of Darkness and finds himself short on rupees to pay Kiki. And so he's in Harvest Moon mode here, trying to farm up some rupees. We'll see if he can find them. Our stun prize was just a small pot of magic, so he can't take advantage of that, and is just going to have to murder some Hinox and Snapdragons and Moblins and Ropas.
Yeah, he might be deciding to just put off pod for now, head up straight to maybe Catfish, and of course he could use his hook shot to get on the west side of Dark World as well.
Yeah, and it looks like VoidbornBeast is also not going to go do pod despite having 671 rupees. So, and not doing Catfish either. So, this kind of is what Voidborn threw into his bio. He likes to be really thorough, doesn't like to skip a lot of locations, but's probably gonna. So we see him skipping right by Catfish here and heading on over toward Village Outcasts.
Yeah, probably knowing that Jenja is his opponent, 2-0s, they need to make some gambles at least to maybe feel ahead, but we'll find out very soon enough what Jenja will be picking up from the Catfish, as he will be throwing his skull in, already setting up to walk away, not trusting that Catfish. Will he get Catfish today? And it is just a big 20.
And this might be the first time I've ever seen someone walk back to Catfish to pick up the big 20, but of course, he wants those rupees. He wants to go back to Pod.
Yeah, that is true. This will get him his Kiki money, having to pay 10 rupees to get Kiki come along with you, and another 100 rupees to open a pot for you. And VoidbornBeast, meanwhile, deciding to dip into Skull Woods.
Yeah, and he was having a little bit of trouble fighting that bush boss there by the pit, but got around it. And oh, it looks like Jenja is, instead of Pod, just going to head over. So we got a little debated there. Looks like he's headed to Village Outcasts as well. And I like this call. I think it's the better call than going into bowless, or not bowless, mirrorless, hammerless Pod. But I could have definitely seen him wanting to just get in there, see what he could find from that location if he felt like that's what the seed was telling him to do.
Yeah, I'm walking all the way back to Pod. If it has nothing, that's also a very long walk, of course. And we see a bumper ledge check by Jenja, which only is a big 20. And VoidbornBeast going into that dreaded Gibdo's room. Of course, having the Cane of Samaria, he'll be able to just put a block on that switch and get to the less accessible chest here.
Yeah, and Voidborn also made that that check. Also seeing that big 20. Also big 20, the first item here out of Skullwoods. So there's not a lot left to do for Voidborn. Still devoid of a fire rod, not going to be able to go into the back of Skullwoods, so... Skullwoods coming up empty so far.
Yeah, interesting. Skullwoods is not what it used to be called, or beloved Value Woods, of course. And VoidbornBeast making way towards the village of Outcasts, having, of course, 3 accessible treasure chests beside Thieves Town, but Thieves Town, however, is a pendant. Most runners, of course, usually opt to get those 4 treasure chests in the front of Thieves Town and set up a death warp if they do not have the mirror, which is a relatively fast check, of course, for 4 treasure chests. But let's see if he goes all the way without the hammer until the end of Thieves Town.
Yeah, and often we see runners make that call kind of based on what they're finding. Ooh, there is our hammer.
There it is.
That incentivizes VoidbornBeast to maybe get into Thieves Town if he wants to check those 4 items, but I also wouldn't be surprised to see it skipped, being that it is a pendant right now. Or is always going to be a pendant, but skipped right now because it is a pendant. And I'm sure we'll be seeing Jenja get his hammer here in just a few minutes. That is going to enable the runners to kind of make their full loop of Dark World and then kind of find their way back up to Pod if they are so inclined. Now with hammer, lamp, and bow in hand, even though the bow was sequence broken, they will be able to full clear Pod. Although without the mirror, it kind of doesn't feel great to do, but, you know, knocking out a crystal dungeon is knocking out a crystal dungeon, so you aren't going to see anyone wait around trying to find the mirror just to put off going and finishing Pod. And Jenja finding his hammer in a completely different chest. It's rigged.
Yes, of course, because in Randomizer, it's always the second treasure chest that you decide to open at the treasure chest game. And VoidbornBeast making that Thieves Town play, not finding anything of interest just yet. But yeah, Palace of Darkness seems to be, well, the play at this moment of time. Of course, maybe flippers might be in there as well. The seed might be forcing them to double dip, and they avoided that, if that's the case.
Yeah, and we see VoidbornBeast making that Thieves Town play, whereas Jenja is just headed over for the digging game. He's now locked out of being back up in the Village Outcasts area by the mitts, or by lack of mitts. And so if VoidbornBeast finds anything here in Thieves Town, it's a ways off for Jenja at this point.
Yeah, could be big. See, yeah, I think he's not setting up the Death Warp, and he's going to complete the whole of Thieves Town having that hammer in hand.
Yeah, and I don't mind this call. I'm kind of the mind of, if you're going into a pendant dungeon, make sure you only ever go in once. And on Jenja's screen, did you see what he just dug up?
Yep, there are our finger webs. So the bow completely being in logic right now. We're in sequence again.
And I see a question in chat from Arbel Knox. Is there a chance you don't get the item from digging? And the answer is, of course, yes, if you don't dig enough. But for the randomizer, the number of digs is fixed for all of the runners, so that somewhere between 1 and 30 digs inclusive will generate the item. And so you need to be able to do 30 digs in the time allotted, and you're guaranteed to find whatever the item is. Jenja getting his mirror from Stump Kid, going right back to Cave 45. This is a really nice check to be able to route in, and that's going to really aid with the overworld cleanup.
Yeah, very interesting. Having picked up those flippers and having picked up that mirror, that means Swamp Palace is on the table as well, as we are speaking.
Absolutely, and Swamp is a crystal dungeon, is full clearable, and isn't that hard to do. So I wouldn't be surprised, even though I know a lot of runners don't like to do Swamp because left side is so slow and Go mode is so fast. I would not be shocked to see Swamp get crossed off the list right here, just because of how the items have fallen in this seed. Meanwhile, VoidbornBeast, a little low on health here in the back of Thieves Town, still diving onward. Those red Zazaks were out for blood, but thankfully didn't get any.
And Hype Cave having nothing so far. That is not that much of a Hype Cave these days, I think. And see, I think Jenja is going up, and yeah, is going for Palace of Darkness, of course. He wants to put off Swamp Palace as long as possible, being able to go mode it. However, I believe Swamp Palace has a big number of 6 treasured items in it. So it could be where our next progression is.
Yeah, and unfortunately, VoidbornBeast is about to run into the key door boss here. Does not have a small key. We're 50-50 for the small key to lock itself away, or for Blind to be a jerk and I think give the small key and enable us to go down and get into that big key chest. That's the worst outcome here for Thieves Town. So we're going to be rooting for Blind to have the 4th item here for Voidborn's sake.
Yeah, if it has something big, this will be huge for him. And Jenja arriving at Palace of Darkness, having paid off Kiki, opens up Pod, enough money for him right now, and Blind with his funds.
So I'm being informed that the logic is that Blind is not allowed to have the key, because actually, yeah, that would enable you to key lock yourself. So that would be something that would be coded out. I was thinking about it wrong for a second, and thankfully Kana Burna gonna bail Voidborn out here, so Blind will have the item we're looking for here. But I guess there was mention that maybe VoidbornBeast left the key in the pot by Blind's door. I didn't catch whether he went up and got it on his way in, but
I think that is correct, because he picked up a small key in one of the 4 treasure chests in the beginning of Thieves Town.
Okay, yeah. So I guess the big chest must have a dungeon item. I was An interesting gamble, but it paid off for Voidborn. Meanwhile, Jenja is into pod and just gonna make his way through, getting a lot of keys here on the front, and then all the items are gonna be hanging out in the back. But the vanilla big key location in pod, giving out the fire rod today. It's a pretty hype find.
Yeah, it's a very, very hype find, but we're only mids and a medal away from Turtle Rock access at this moment of time.
Yeah, Pendant T-Rock looking to follow up on Aghanim here, and yeah, VoidbornBeast gonna need to dig. Okay, he was able to get those digs in. Was running low on time. We almost ran into the eventuality of the possibility that a runner would not get an item from the digging game, but he's able to clutch that one out and dig like his flippers depended on it.
Yeah, those are some dirty flippers, and we'll be very happy to check out Stumpy here, getting his mirror, being able to route in that cave south of the Grove. And let's see if he decides to make that Swamp Palace early play, but he's probably going to Palace of Darkness as well, looking at the items that he has at his disposal at this moment of time.
Best thing about dirty flippers is as soon as you use them, they're clean again.
You are very right, sir.
So we'll see if he goes to use them over in Swamp Palace. But yeah. I see some conjecture about pedestal here, and
oh wow, the P word already on the table.
Yeah, we're looking at. I don't think we need anything actually. I think we're pretty well set.
Yeah, maybe a medal could be on pedestal so far. Yeah. The boots could be on pedestal, and boots could be required for either Desert Palace or, of course, the torch in Ganon's Tower. And besides those, yeah, of course, it could be a fetch quest item or the book leading to one of those.
Yeah, and there are the boots, so that's gonna kill it. We are set. In fact, with Eastern Desert and Hera, Pod, Swamp, Skullwoods, and Ice as our crystals.
Yep.
We are a mitts away from go mode for Jenja.
There's a very nice safety item for Jenja, the powder in the back of Pod.
This seed does need Titan's mitts, but because there are pendants behind the mitts, namely the green pendant and whatever the T-Rock pendant is, we are not going to be able to, get mitts on Ped. But mitts are required for every seed. But we do see that swamp play here from VoidbornBeast, so a bit of divergence. If the mitts are over here, we know that's really all that we could be looking for. Otherwise, Jenja is going to be able to go mode Swamp when he gets here.
Yeah, really fast seed so far. And you're correct, Titan's mitts are required in every seed because you have to access Ganon's Tower by going through one of the black blocks blocking war portals in the east side of Death Mountain, either the one on Turtle Rock or the one on the downside of East Death Mountain.
I just had to stop and think, is that the only reason? And yeah, I believe that there are only 3 dungeons that are locked behind mitts. So yeah, if it were not for Death Mountain, it would be possible to have seeds that didn't require mitts, but because of the way those portals are set up, we're gonna need mitts in every seed.
Yep, and in this seed we will also be needing those mitts to get into Ice Palace, which is of course one of those 3 mitts required dungeons. And it seems that I think Jenja is not too far off from go mode at this moment.
Yeah, so we're a mitts away. So rooting for Helmasaur mitts if you're in Jenja's corner right now. And
yeah, if you want to.
I actually didn't count the items in pod to see if we found 5 non-dungeon items yet.
Yeah, I lost count. I'm a little bit too focused on the VB side to see if he finds those mids here in Swamp Palace. So far, nothing yet.
Yeah, Swamp, fairly likely to be, you know, devoid of items at this point. We do want to see the mitts show up though.
Yeah, for the sake of this race, yeah, it would be great if VoidbornBeast picks up those mids here in Swamp Palace, and Jenja gets rewarded with his first crystal, I believe, because he did not clear out Eastern Palace yet. However, he'll be able to use the mirror to get back straight to the front of Eastern Palace and clear that out right away.
Yeah, and this is nice routing here from Jenja. It's going to minimize some of that time loss that he took by not having the bow on his first pass here. But still losing time relative to VoidbornBeast, but not nearly as much as it could have been.
Yep, and VB going for the Swamp Palace left side play here. So if the mids are here, that could be very, very huge for him.
Yeah, if you're rooting for VoidbornBeast, you want the mitts to show up in one of these next 2 chests. These are your slowest, sort of deepest swamp chests, and the ones that runners are most likely to skip because they do take a lot of time. And so we have one more shot here. And I see the comment that, unfortunately, that didn't work, but Jenja is far closer to go mode right now. Almost all of that came from Palace of Darkness, and I think that on the conclusion of Swamp Palace, we will see VoidbornBeast head over to pod here. It is the next logical play for the runners to make.
Yeah, definitely. It's gonna be his next crystal, and he will be picking up his boots, his fire rod, and yeah, the book as well, because yeah, whoever knows, the book might be leading to those mitts.
And I just realized, you know what this means? Both runners are almost assured to get to do a go mode Ice Palace, which always feels great. So I'll say this seed has been a pretty friendly one.
Yeah, that is true. And
despite Aghanim, I would trade. Well, actually, I don't know. Would I trade Aghanim for go mode Ice Palace?
I would certainly.
Ice Palace at least has items in it. It is an interesting hypothetical, though.
It's true. It's just such a good feeling to be able to go mode something like Swamp or Ice.
Yeah, but I see the sword upgrade being mentioned as something that could make a difference here for VoidbornBeast versus Jenja. But both runners know about their 3rd sword upgrade up on Spectacle Rock. And so with the mirror in hand, they know that they can go get it pretty much whenever they want it, particularly on the way to Ganon's Tower, is when I expect Jenja to go and pick that one up.
A very interesting fact. I think we won't be seeing the inside of Misery Mire or Turtle Rock in the seed, knowing that mids is our go mode item.
Yeah, we are completely safe from needing to dive Mire or T-Rock because a requirement for both those dungeons is the last item that Jenja needs. So we're really rooting for VoidbornBeast to make his way over to pod here so that he doesn't get trapped into some sort of dive into one of those dungeons by finding mitts before finding all the other stuff.
Yeah, and this is good for VoidbornBeast because Jenja seems to be making the Swamp Palace play as well, and looking for those mids. I think he will be full clearing that as well, going to the left side and check out all the treasure chests.
Yeah, the only big difference here is going to be that he does have boots, so that's going to make his movement, particularly through these long stretches of water, much faster. And VoidbornBeast going for some ice rod swag here on Argus. Unfortunately, it's not going quite according to plan. Looks like he's going to go to Master Sword spins. But, oh, okay. Getting it done there with the ice rod. And it's a mushroom, so we could still have the mitts behind Swamp.
Yeah, picking up his second crystal, that is, for VoidbornBeast. And yeah, those ice rod shots are actually quite hard to get in because it has a delay that the fire rod doesn't.
Yeah, it deals the same damage as Fire Rod, but because you see it less, it feels so much swaggier because it's so hard to hit some of those shots. Sometimes you'll see like an Ice Rod Land Molus fight or something, and because we don't see him every day, it's always kind of a little bit of a treat.
Yeah,
let's see. Is Jenja going to go left side in Swamp on the first pass? We're coming up to the point of decisions. He did hook over to get the key, and so we'll see if he grabs this and heads straight for the back, or if he's going to go and do a full clear of the left side of Swamp that we know won't turn up anything because VoidbornBeast has already done it and showed it to us. Voidborn making his way over to Pod, so he's going to be getting all those sweet items that we just saw Jenja get, and that'll kind of tie the runners up. Jenja a little ahead, gaining a little bit on movement from those boots here, but still fairly close.
Yep, and seems like Jenja is ignoring the left side for now, meaning that if he goes back into Swamp, he will lose a little bit of time.
Absolutely, and Swamp, one of those things that if you think you're going to have to full clear it, you want to do it all in one go, because otherwise you have to go through 2 mirror transitions and some extra screen transitions and draining the water from the light world to re-raise the water in the dark world in the Swamp. So I think it's fairly likely that we'll see him come back in for the left side after finishing up here.
Yeah, definitely, and I totally agree with this, backside of Swamp first play, because if you're only one item away from Go mode, if it's here, the payout is so huge.
And we'll see how VoidbornBeast routes. Whoa, throwing the bomb downward. Not quite the input he wanted, but see how he chooses to route his pod experience. He did get that bridge key, so I think we'll be seeing him head over and getting his fire rod from the vanilla big key location. This is a pretty clean way to route pod out. I like this routing. We'll probably see him do that and then go full right side behind the bow locked part of the dungeon. Meanwhile, Jenja trying to double hook these Cocoa Puffs from Argus and using Master Sword slashes. Doing a pretty nice job with this fight. And Jenja just going for some spins there and getting his mushroom. Now we will see whether he wants to go back in to clear left side or not.
Yeah, interesting call. I think he'll go back in. After that, he'll be able to route in the Bombos tablet as well, using that mirror and book, because it's west from Swamp Palace, of course. But let's see, he's ignoring it. He's going for the Bombos tablet straight away.
Yeah, and this is a nice check. It'll be interesting to see if he ever goes back in. We know it wouldn't turn out anything, and it is a pretty slow couple item locations, so that is going to save him time if he never gets back there. And yeah, Bombos, true to form, just giving some bombs.
Yep, I make things go triple boom, and I think Jenya might have been counting his items, knowing that at least the compass had been sitting in the left side, meaning only one item was left.
Yeah, and on Desert Ledge, there are our Titan's mitts. So
Yup.
Jenya is in go mode at sub 1 hour.
Wow, he must be feeling great.
Yeah, this has to feel excellent. Just sitting there all along.
Yeah, they could have even like known this already if they checked out Agina in the beginning, looking for that hammer or glove upgrade going to Aghanim.
Yeah, but funny thing, as soon as you see those mitts there, Jenya also knows that Aghanim was 100% required. So, because of the book being in Dark World and the hammer being in Dark World, and I guess, yes, that's true.
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah, interesting thing is what will VoidbornBeast decide to go do after this? Because he has the fire rod, and of course he also has picked up the book. Tower of Hera is clearable. Desert Palace is clearable as a crystal. Skullwoods is clearable as well. So what will he decide to do after this?
And I think Desert Palace is a very, very reasonable play. He already has one item out of Skullwoods. No one wants to go do Tower of Hera before they have to if you think you can route it in as your last dungeon. So, I wouldn't be surprised to see him make that same play. So hopefully he's only going to be a few minutes behind Jenya to his go mode, especially now with these boots. There's no risk of Desert being boots locked. So I think it's fairly likely we see him find his way over there.
Yeah, it's very, very convenient indeed to route in Tower of Hera as your final dungeon. Just getting that Dark World portal at east side of Death Mountain, using the mirror in front of Ganon's Tower, clearing out Hera, and using the mirror portal to get yourself in the front of Ganon's Tower and complete the game.
Yeah, and Jenya does have the mirror, so that's a heads up to everyone when it comes time for that last crystal and that guessing game y'all really like. It's gonna be a quick one, so get ready.
Yeah, I think we might have to start that already when Jenya is going into his Trolldorn fight, and not just as he finishes off Trolldorn, because you literally have a time span of only like 10 or 15 seconds to get your guesses in.
Yeah, so I think that we may try and bend the rules here and open things up on sort of a few seconds before getting up to that Moldorm fight in Tower of Hera, because it's going to be a very quick turnaround even still.
So yeah, how does that feel to you, being able to talk already at the GT Big Key guessing game at only 1 hour in?
I mean, it feels great. This has been a really fun seed to watch, and both the runners have done a really nice job with it. VoidbornBeast getting a little turtled here. That room can be a bit of a pain in the butt, especially if the turtles get flipped back over and get into their enraged state. And okay, where is oh, Jenya's gonna go and do Ice Palace next. That makes a lot of sense. So he's gonna do Ice Palace, then Skullwoods, and then Tower of Hera, and do them all in go mode. And so we are shaping up for a nice time here from Jenya.
Yeah, it's true. If VoidbornBeast decides to go for the desert play after this, he'll be in go mode, and it might come down to maybe left or right side GT or execution if it keeps continuing like this.
But yeah, for anyone who is just joining us, we had a sub 1 hour go mode from Jenja. This seed really just giving everything to the runners in pod, and so thankfully both runners have now completed pod and gotten their sweet haul of items. But Myra and T-Rock are both pendants, and so no medallions required. They know where their third sword upgrade is. I imagine both of them are comfortable with tempered silverless Ganon. That's a pretty cozy fight. So I think that we're just going to see them blaze through the back end of this game as soon as VoidbornBeast gets over to Desert Ledge and finds his Titan's Mitts.
Yeah, this is going to be a fast one, and runners 2-0 and runners of this caliber will not be having any troubles whatsoever with Temper Sword Ganon without the silver arrows, and they might even be able to pick those silvers up in Ganon's tower if they're sitting right in front of their face while checking out the GT Bicky chest.
And our tracker, ever more diligent than me, so thank you, Wolflink. Also, thank you to chat for correcting me if I had said fluting. The runners, of course, don't have the flute. They're just going to have to do slightly slow overworld movement to get to their things. But apparently, the silver arrows are on the floating island. That's also a nice and easy thing to grab on the way to GT, along with that tempered sword on Spectacle Rocks. So that feels really good. I think we're gonna see, the runners pick both of those things up. The silvers are a little questionable, but it does alleviate any ammo concerns if you need to fight Ice Armos. So I think we'll probably see the runners grab silvers.
Yeah, I totally missed that, so that's a really convenient pickup. And as well, it makes the mimic rooms go a little bit faster because you only need 1 arrow instead of 2. So yeah, very good. And Jenja into his Cold Stare fight here.
Yeah, and Master Sword Cold Stare, I like to do all that often. These puffs, I think it's 12 slashes a piece. So yeah, we're gonna see him cash that blue goo and switch over to Fire Rod and just annihilate these frozen puffs. Yeah, that was a clean one.
That was very fast indeed. And VoidbornBeast routing in Catfish together with the Witch's Hut, turning in the Mushroom and going to the Waterfall Cave. Unfortunately, we know that it has nothing.
Yeah, but this is a quick way to clean up Zora's domain. He did fake flippers to Hobo and then kind of skipped out earlier, and so turning in that mushroom that he got off of Argus, cleaning up the Waterfall Fairy Cave, Zora, and hopefully we're gonna see a save and quit back to Link's house. That's what we're rooting for here to help VoidbornBeast on his way. And Zora, 500 rupees for a quarter heart. Not the best value in Hyrule. But okay, we are at Fake's house. We might be headed back to Desert. We might be getting those mitts very soon. It seems like a logical place to go. And it looks like
Dark World.
Yeah. Looks like we might be headed
maybe
to Bombo's tablet as well, so
yeah,
I like
exactly.
that route.
Yeah, very good call. Just get out of the way at the same time. He will be seeing those Titan's mitts, realizing he'll be in go mode as well.
And the ever-trolly Skullbush getting Jenja there in Skull Woods. And these Ropas are not playing nice for Voidborn, but he's going to get to his Light World, get that Bombo's tablet check, and then he'll be right over. And Jenja getting beetled back into that Wallmaster. Going to set him back a couple screens. But he still has a pretty solid lead in this one at this point. Everything really just played very well. Looks like we're getting an Agina check finally. So VoidbornBeast also about to find out a different way that Aghanim was required. VoidbornBeast is not yet in Go mode because he does not yet have the knowledge of where those Titan's myths are. That's why he's checking Agina's cave. No runner in Go mode is gonna go check out Agina's cave.
No, most certainly not. And of course, he's going back, and he will be seeing those myths sitting on the ledge of the desert. So then, yeah, he'll be in no mode first, and of course, having picked them up, he'll be in Go mode. So he'll just get the big key. And yes, there are his myths and 2 frustration swipes.
Well-deserved frustration swipes. Can't speak today. Signed up for commentary, can't speak English. It's a real problem. But,
yeah, I know, right?
But thankfully, Voidborn can read the book, can open Desert Palace, and read so nice of a story he read it twice.
Yep, and Mothula down for Jenja, picking up his 6th crystal and making his way to Tower of Hera. And after that, of course, making way to Ganon's Tower.
Yeah, and we're gonna probably see a sub 130 here today from Jenja, and checking that item, I guess he wasn't in here and didn't know that it was a boots lock desert, so yeah, makes sense that he would get that ether and just on a check to see if it was the big key. And Jenja also did check that location. I was gonna say that was kind of peculiar routing if Jenja never stumbled across that. I was thinking it must have been Big Key Torch, but yeah. Ether Medallion for both runners. Some runners like to use that in Upper Ganon's Tower for some of the gauntlet rooms. It's a little slower, but is very consistent if some of the enemies are going to kind of troll you with their AI. Particularly some of those red Stalfos.
Yeah, slow but secure. Personally, I've never used it, but it's very nice if you're not feeling all too well about your execution that one day. Yeah, you might be very sweaty, you might be on top of your toes going to the end of Ganon's Tower, so it might be a very secure way if you're feeling that you're ahead. Of course, feeling ahead is a very, very rare case here in randomizer runs.
Yeah, I can't tell you the last time I felt like I was ahead at randomizer. And the last time I felt I was ahead, I was probably wrong. But looks like Jenja not getting those silvers, but he is setting up to go get that tempered sword, so this will be a nice cozy Ganon for Jenja. And he's gonna look at that tempered sword, think about it, and he's gonna do it after Hera.
Oh yeah, yeah, makes sense. Still, no, he's going back and he decides, maybe I want to beat Moldorm with the tempered sword. Maybe no hammer struts today.
Yeah, he's gonna have to jump down. He's thinking about it. It's a scary ledge, but overcoming his fear of heights, he's gonna pick up that tempered sword. And now he's gonna mirror back and worry about his portal. He's gonna have to go back over and use the T-Rock portal. So we actually are going to have a little bit more time because of how he was routing that.
Yeah, that is good for all favorite guessing game. And meanwhile, VoidbornBeast into the Lemulus fight. Unfortunately, having used up all his fire rod shot, he has to go with the Master Sword spins to finish them off.
Yeah. I'm surprised that Master Sword spins are gaining favor over arrow strats here, but he does only have 27 arrows and maybe forgot about those silvers and wants to preserve ammo for the upcoming GT.
Yep, and Jenja in the coffee break room in Tower of Hera, probably getting himself a drink, washing off his sweaty hands from his controller. And of course, I don't blame him at all. 114, and knowing that he's going to finish this seed relatively fast. getting ready for the last portion.
Yep. Unfortunately, tile room required. But I guess fortunately both runners are going to have to go through it, so no one's going to gain or lose time on a tile room gamble here. And man, I hate when my menu has awkward gaps like that.
Oh yeah, it's very, very difficult to handle that. And I completely forgot that both of our runners don't have the flute, so they'll have to walk the long way around to their dungeons. VoidbornBeast going for Ice Palace as his next target.
And Jenja may be a little flustered right now, taking some interesting movement in some of these screens, but I think that just. I think that maybe he's focusing on what's coming next.
Oh yeah, well, better trip up here than trip up in Ganon's Tower. So, actually good for him.
Yeah, where was Lamp? I see someone asking in chat. It was pretty early.
In the mushroom spot in the Lost Woods.
That's right. Yeah, it was. I knew it was somewhere early, like in CAC or something. Yeah, it was the vanilla mushroom location was where Lamp was for the runners this seed. So, because they got that free light cone for the escape and didn't have to do the dark rooms in the first part of the game. They didn't have to do any dark rooms today.
And Jenja picking up his 7th crystal, and we all know what that means, don't we?
In fact, yeah, it is time.
So, we have 22 possible locations for the big key in Ganon's Tower. Which location do you think it will be today? Get your guesses in chat, numbers 1 until 22. If you have donated at least 250 bits, or if you are subscribed to one of the 6P gaming channels, you'll be able to get a place in our beautiful leaderboard. So get your guesses in. So, Maniaco, what do you think the big key number will be today?
Well, my typical guess is always the vanilla big key location, which if you go to right side and then full left, usually works out to be 15. But 15 was guessed ahead of me in today's game, and so I guessed 1. I want to see this be the jettiest Ganon's Tower. I want to see big key and immediate small key right side. How do you feel today, Kless?
Well, I'm gonna join you, not with 1, but with the same room. So number 2 is gonna be my guess. Yeah, this has been quite the jet seed already. So let's hope that it's even more jettier after now. And that is number 1. And unfortunately, that is number 2.
Yeah, and looks like he's setting up for the right side play. And not tile room gambling, not surprising. And VoidbornBeast, did he just get hit falling from one of those freezors? Man.
I didn't quite catch that.
Yeah, his health not in the best sorts.
Yeah, I believe he still might have a potion left. Yeah, he has blue goo.
And that is 3, 4, here comes 5, and 6 is going to open some holes in the floor, but not open the top of Ganon's Tower. So he's going to grab this small key from the pot, and we'll see if he goes full right or if he mirrors out, but he menued to mirror, so yep, there it is, there's the mirror out. We're going to see Torch is the 7th location. And picking up a small key, so rip Bob. Bob would be location 16, so if you guess 16 like Bob, keep your fingers crossed. And on, I believe this is 8, 9, 10, and 11.
10. Nothing. Or 11, yeah, that's correct.
Yeah. And so Firebar Room is going to be 12 today. And VoidbornBeast has gotten his Ice Palace Crystal, killed Cold Stare, and so only Skullwoods and Tower of Hera to go. He is going to be doing the speediest of go modes here. And that was a really interesting blue boomerang strat there from Jenya. I'd never seen that executed quite like that.
Yeah, this is a first timer for me as well. So chest number 13 coming up here in the Fire Snake room. And there's another heart container.
So not today, 13. Here comes our randomizer room. I guess I made a counting mistake for Bob.
14, 15, 16, 17. So yeah, Bob's chest is chest number 18, I believe.
Yes, so apologies. If you guess 16 and like Bob, you still lose. So sorry.
Yeah, poor Bob.
It's okay. Almost all of us lose on this big key guessing game. And there it is. Right there in Bob's chest. And that was 18. And it looks like the closest guess from a sub or supporter was 19 from Velenov, who will be increasing his standing, or her standing, on the leaderboard. So, congratulations to them on a successful guess, or successful enough guess of 19. And VoidbornBeast really does not like Gibdos. Unfortunately, that Gibdo has some mad jukes, and was dodging all the fire rod shots, but got him down with some Master Sword slashes.
Yep, and Jenya deciding to go for the safety room here in Ganon's Tower, which I can kind of agree with. Yeah, having only 4 hearts left, and I'm not sure how many potions Jenya has.
I was surprised to see Jenya not go for the full magic refill down there in that room as well, because also pretty low on magic, and there was a full pot or a full magic decanter in the bottom skull in that room.
Yeah, interesting. Might be still holding on to a potion then. Or maybe, yeah, in the heat of the moment, he just forgot about it.
That's possible. I wouldn't think, but now he's grabbing all the small pots on the way. So yeah, maybe he just doesn't use that refill room all that much. Maybe feels ahead because of his good time to this point, and just isn't familiar with that large decanter there. So there is a full magic refill in the bottom pot, or the bottom skull in that Josh Fairy room, if you were inclined to use it. And Landmo 2 so far, going A-okay. Combination of tempered sword hits and fire rod shots. Saving some magic, only using, I think, one Fire Rod shot there. Getting through on a nice 3 cycle.
Yeah, but meanwhile, VoidbornBeast picking up his Tempered Sword here on the top of Spectacle Rock.
Yeah,
And
we'll see.
yeah, let's see if he's gonna up to pick up those silver arrows.
Yeah, looks like he's headed right for it, gonna do it even before doing Tower of Hera. And
yeah, well,
so,
he hasn't accessed the Dark World portal yet, and I think he wants to, yeah, make use of the portal, warping straight from Hera directly into Ganon's tower. But yeah, interesting, yeah, to see if he's gonna up to pick up those silvers.
and taking the full magic refill there. So now Jenya's magic and health situation is pretty set here for the rest of Ganon's tower. Does need to get one more key here, probably going to get it, yep, from Mini Helmosaurus. And I guess he is looking for silvers, so I guess he didn't know about the silvers over there on the floating island that we're going to see VoidbornBeast get in just a second. Presumably that's all he could be looking for in that chest, though. There's nothing else that would save time.
Yeah, I think with Jenya's level, he won't be searching for anything else. Of course, it would be nice to maybe pick up the Butter Sword or maybe another mill upgrade, but yeah, knowing about Jenya, he doesn't need it.
Yeah, I mean, the Gold Sword potentially can save time if he's not comfortable with a 1-on-1 with Tempered on Ganon. But I imagine that a runner of his skill probably feels pretty okay about his Ganon fight. And that's not the arrow he was looking for in that Moldorm 2 chest. That was just a single arrow. He's not gonna get a chance to use it.
Yep, that won't become his magical single arrow in the seed. But for VoidbornBeast, it will become his magical arrow maybe to finish off the seed as he picked up his silvers. But yeah, Jenya has such a big lead right now. It's gonna be very, very, very hard for VoidbornBeast to still take the win, of course.
Oh, and that pattern, unfortunately, just not working out very well for Jenny, missing all the shots on Agate that round. This Agate is not how we drew it up, but this cycle looks good. Oh, and only getting one in there too. Another cycle, another shot. There we go. We got two that time. And he is through safely. That was quite an Agate, but you know, sometimes those patterns just don't play well.
Yeah, having to reflect those shots that do not come straight at you is actually a major pain. So yeah, Aghanim has not been playing very, very nice with us today. Not Aghanim 1 and Aghanim 2
No.
either.
But we'll see how the Ganon fight goes. He got his 1 slash in early, probably going to go for 2 more and the double spin, yep. And missing the double spin, but he has 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. And I can count. Looks like he needs 1 more here to start phase 2. Getting a couple extra beats in on Ganon. Just taking out some fury for the seed. But yeah, it looks like narrowly missed the 1-1, so Gold Sword may have saved a little bit of time. His health is not in great sorts.
Yeah, making good use of the hook shot, but it seems that Jenya does not have a spare potion, but I think, yeah, he should be fine as he's into phase 3 already.
Yeah, he's going to need to not take another hit here. I don't think he has a hit to give from anything. I think even with his blue mail that these fire bats would be lethal. So
Oh yeah, any hit right now will result into a game over.
getting his torch glitch. He is 12 spins away from glory. See if he can get 3 per cycle. Looks like maybe he's just setting up for 2 per cycle, and VoidbornBeast is into Ganon's tower. Looks like we could get 3 here to even up that 1 hit cycle here from the second torch lighting.
Yep, doing very, very well so far. I believe we're only a couple of spins away from the victory of Jenja.
I think it's 4 to go, now 3. Oh, we should need 1 more on this last torch cycle if I counted them right.
Yep.
Ganon's a little dodgy, and there we go.
Blue pig is down. We are ready for some barbecue. GG to Jenja23. Get your GGs into chat, as he will be finishing up very soon. Jenja walking into the Triforce room and finishing with an official Speed Racing TV time of 1 hour, 30 minutes and 20.
Yeah, GG, Jenja. Very, very nice time there. 1 hour, 30 minutes, 29 seconds, the speedracing.tv official time. That's a heck of a time there.
Yeah, very, very good time indeed. Meanwhile, VoidbornBeast just entered Ganon's tower. Will be picking up his GT big key at Bob's chest and make his way to Aghanim 2 and beat the blue pig.
So, expect to see him find his way around to Bob's chest here. Hopefully, he grabs it on his first pass. Made a mistake of bombing out the floor, just going to NMG muscle memory and skipping that chest the other night, and I was very lucky that it was not the big key, but man, I was tilted for a few seconds. So barring any real dumb mistakes, VoidbornBeast should be on pace to finish up here, and it looks like we are joined by Jenja. Congratulations on the win. Good game, Jenja.
Yep. GG, Jenja.
Hey guys, thank you very much.
Yeah, that was quite a seed. How did you feel about it?
C was great. My gameplay was not. I don't know. I don't know. I was like shaking my head over the entire seed because of how many really, really stupid mistakes I did. Could have done this much faster, but I mean the seed itself was like, I mean, every seed where you don't have to take a single step into any of the pendant dungeons, I guess you can consider pretty good, but like I wasn't even aware of it. It's like I was just, you know, going around Dark World collecting my items, and all of a sudden I was like, wait, I only need Titansmiths. Well, that's crazy. Okay, yeah, sure. And I was like, I only need Titansmiths and I haven't done a single dungeon yet.
That was kind of how it happened for us too. We were like, oh wait, Pod had everything.
Yeah.
We like looked at your item loadout as you were finishing Pod, and we were just like, no, that's not the items. It's just mitts at this point.
Yeah.
Yeah, we were very surprised, already discussing Misery Mire and Total Rock being completely off the table. And yeah, actually your opponent decided to clear out Thieves Town, fortunately having nothing of value at all. But I think Titansmiths as a go mode item must feel really, really well.
Absolutely, yeah. I mean, you know that you can't scratch off a couple dungeons straight out of the bat for Titansmiths, so that's usually a pretty good item that you can find, or that you have to find at last. But yeah.
Yeah, especially when a lot of the dungeons, or the longer dungeons behind mitts, are pendant dungeons, just knowing that you won't need to dip into them. I was thinking about it, I was like, man, the only bad thing this seed did was put the runners through Castle Tower and an Aga seed, and you still finished with a low 130 time. So
yeah, it was
it shows how well the items really just lined up and how well you read the seed.
I definitely was really they lined up pretty well overall, so can't complain too much about that.
I thought after seeing you go back to pick up that big 20 that Catfish threw that you were going to head right back down to Pod, but then you headed over to Village Outcast. Were you thinking about it when you grabbed that 20?
I don't know. I was. I mean, obviously, I felt really dumb. At least I noticed like on the way. But I mean, I was already when I was already up there. I was like, yeah, okay. Going back to Pod is not really that great at that point because I can just, you know, if I really have to go into Pod, then you know, it's not that much of a detour to just go back through the Aghanim portal and then into Pod. But I mean, I guess that mistake, quote unquote, essentially saved me time because I found the hammer later. So I actually, but the boots were in this. I'm actually not sure if that actually saved me time, but I guess it worked out in the end. Let's put it that way. But yeah.
Yeah, it set you up to kind of go on that full loop of Dark World because you did get over and get the hammer from Chest Game, and that let you kind of clear everything all at once.
Mm-hmm.
Which, like you said, it worked out nicely in the end.
Yeah. I mean, there were a couple things. I initially wanted to go into Pod because I thought, okay, you know, I already have the bow, so I might as well just look into it and see if there's anything bow locked in there. But that was another thing that I mean, obviously, I find the bow right after I'm done searching through Eastern. But
yeah, of course.
There were a couple of things. In hindsight, I think I also should have picked up the silver arrows. I think I probably would have saved time in the end, but.
We weren't sure if you knew about the silver arrows. VoidbornBeast did go over and get them. Actually, yeah. We missed the check on both of your sides when you guys saw them.
Yeah.
So we just assumed that you either didn't know or that you just said, I've got Tempered Sword, let's go.
Yeah, that was another thing. Like my mind was just so blanking because I was like, yeah, great. The Tempered Sword is right in front of Tower of Hera. I can just mirror out and then, you know, go back and then finish Tower of Hera. And then I don't know. I just derped so badly because I was like, yeah, great. There's definitely no way I'm gonna do this with just Master Sword because the Tempered Sword is right there. So yeah, then I had to take the extra tour there. But I figured, I mean, usually Tempered Sword without silvers is fine, so I was like, yeah, okay, you know, you can skip the silvers for now. But
yeah, we saw you employing a bunch of kind of sort of traditional NMG strats throughout the run. I checked on speedrun.com. It didn't look like you have an NMG entry on the leaderboard. It didn't look like you said you'd done any NMG runs. Did you just kind of pick up the strats from watching runs, or just deduced that they were the most quick ways to do some of the runs?
I have not done any NMG runs, no. Absolutely not. I guess most of the stuff, I mean, I don't know what you exactly are referring to, but most of the stuff I just probably catch from just looking a bunch of races or other people. That's usually where I get most of the things from.
Yeah, it was a lot of things in like Castle Tower. Your loadout was a lot like an NMG loadout, but without boots. And things like the escape, where you had the fighter sword to do the escape. A lot of the loadouts at some of the various points looked a lot like what you would have at comparable spots in an NMG run, and your strats looked kind of aligned with those, and so
that's true. Yeah,
sort of jogged my memory to ask you. And yeah, we see VoidbornBeast is making his way through Upper Ganon's Tower, but is gambling without a key. So we're gonna. I'm curious to see if one of these chests up here has a key for him.
I think there was a key in there, yeah.
I'm not sure. I believe there wasn't any key left upstairs, so this could be another revisit to the top levels of Ganon's Tower. And Jenja, we were also talking about your menuing for a bit, and I think you got about 2 minutes and 10 seconds, almost under the 2-minute mark, which is really, really impressive.
Well, I guess. I mean, with the seed this low, I mean, my collection rate is like 130. That's also fairly low for a randomizer, definitely.
Yeah. Anytime you don't need to go independent dungeons in V29, I mean, that's a 130 with a fairly late GT big key. So, like,
And Aghanim required as well.
yeah. Like,
I
the
mean-
number of other locations you need to check was just super, super low, which was great.
Yeah. I mean, overall, I'm not too dissatisfied, obviously, but it's just that's just kind of my thing that I keep, you know, rubbing my own mistakes just constantly in, just because I don't know, I just get fed up by my own mistakes very easily. And, yeah, something I can get very, very upset about.
I think that's true of a lot of us who play rando, especially in a race like this. You're thinking, oh, am I going to lose because of this one? And you have to, you know, you're in a black box for an hour and a half while you live with your mistakes and wonder if they're going to cost you.
Exactly, yeah, pretty much.
Yep, unfortunately for VoidbornBeast, he picks up another spare key on the top of Ganon's tower, so he doesn't need to go back all the way up again.
Yeah, he will be set up to finish here on his first pass through Upper Ganon's Tower, which will be nice. But Jenja, that moves you on to 3-0 in this tournament. So congrats on being thus far undefeated. Only 4 rounds of Swiss to go. How are you feeling about it?
Yeah, thank you. Really good. I mean, it's always really, really a pleasure to run in these kinds of tournaments. I always have lots of fun with it, and I mean, with 512 people being in here, there's a lot of also new faces that you already get, you know, very surprised that they put on that kind of skill, you know. But obviously there's a lot of familiar faces sitting and waiting, crush me completely. But yeah, so I'll always try my best, and I definitely want to, you know, if you're already 3-0, you definitely obviously want to make it to the bracket stage at least. So should be pretty confident actually.
Yeah, you have to 2-2 at least from this point. But I mean, a runner of your caliber, you should be, you know, favored to make it from this point. And so, you know, hopefully we get to see you play in the brackets. I know, you know, it would be as much of a treat for everyone watching as it would be for you to make it there. So,
yeah, thanks. Yeah, as I said, I always have lots of fun with it, despite getting frustrated at myself constantly.
Yeah, like I said, it's what we do.
Absolutely.
Yeah, I think we all do that. We're being nice to each other, but when it comes to ourselves, we want to keep learning, we want to keep improving, and you need to stay strict at yourself at all times to accomplish the next level. So I completely agree with your attitude towards your own play. However, I think yeah, you executed quite well today, and well, you of course it got you to the victory. So yeah, no complaints there, right?
Yeah, absolutely.
I think it's always good to, you know, be a little hard on yourself for your mistakes and then chalk your victories up to luck. So it helps with improvement, if not with feeling good about yourself as a player. But 5-2 will be good enough to make it through, so it'll be fun to see. Like you said, there's been a lot of newer players who are, I guess, less well known, but have shown off quite a bit of skill so far in this tournament. It'll be really interesting to see some of those new faces also make it through into the bracket stage. VoidbornBeast is looking in good shape here on his Ganon fight. Just got to get a couple more slashes in there. They were for phase 2. I think he should be set up, but he does have that fairy in a bottle, I believe.
Yeah, that is correct. So he'll be standing up very soon again, and also I think he still has some potions left as well. Already moved into the phase 2 of Ganon, so he'll be finishing up soon, I guess.
I see in chat some comments about the lack of bugnet. Clearly an unfortunate seed for Jenja.
worst seed ever. I agree. To be fair, with only 130 locations, it's somewhat likely.
I think Uncle should be able to give you the bug net. That's my thought. And
that would be great if they would add that in.
Yeah, with only 31 arrows left, VoidbornBeast looks like he's going for Tempered Silverless, going to save a little bit of his ammo. Doesn't want to run out here on Ganon. I like this. I like this play.
Yeah, I really do like this play. Showing a bit of his skills at the end of the game. Probably having seen the dot done from Jenja. Very nice to see that he's also, of course, as a runner of this caliber, able to pull this skill off of Silverless Ganon.
Yeah, it's always good to have a little bit more hype here at the end of the race. I think that's 5, now 6 hits in. Looks like he's going for 2 per cycle. Oh, he went for the 3rd one there, just didn't quite get it. It's a really tight window to get it the way he was going for it.
Yeah, very, very clean finish there. Get your GGs in chat for VoidbornBeast. Man, both these runners putting off a very, very, very exciting show today.
Absolutely, GG to VoidbornBeast. He has finished with an official speedracing.tv time of 1 hour, 45 minutes, and 49 seconds. And I'll take a moment to remind everyone, feel free to go give both of the runners a follow. Throw them your support over on their channels as well. They're always, doing some Link to the Past rando and other races. I know Jenya said he also runs a bunch of RPGs if you enjoy that sort of stuff. Been doing it for about 9 months, and I'm sure that those are also very skillfully executed, as we've seen today, for the Link to the Past rando. So very worth your time to follow them, and also all of the Speed Gaming and A Link to the Past Randomizer channels at Speed Gaming 4, where we are right now. Also Speed Gaming 2, 3, 5, and 6, and ALTTP Randomizer, and then ALTTP Randomizer 2 through 4. Channels that are hosting all of these tournament matches, 512 players in the Swiss. So it's 256 matches per week. We're restreaming as many of them as we can to bring them to you. There's basically more content to watch per week being generated than you could watch at 1x speed if you did it 24 hours a day. So please enjoy the next few weeks of all of these runs. It's been really, really excellent. We'll see if VoidbornBeast wants to come in and chat with us here. Hopefully he chooses to.
Yep, and VoidbornBeast should be with us in chat, I believe. Don't see him yet. He might choose still not to give an interview, of course, understandable after just having taken a loss. But seems there he is.
Here he is, yeah. Welcome to VoidbornBeast. Congratulations on the nice finish. How are you feeling?
I'm feeling like I hate Thieves Town.
Oh, yeah.
So I have to ask, was this actually an Aghanim seed? I wasn't following the logic very well.
It was. It absolutely was. The mitts on Desert Ledge, which got your consternation, were behind the book, which was in the dark in the basement of Pod in the U-shaped room, and the hammer was, of course, in the chest game.
Oh man, speaking of Pod, there were
What
so
a
many
pod.
items in there.
Yeah, this pod, there's only 5 non-dungeon items, but oh man, were they all awesome.
I went in there like, okay, Pod, I want only like a few things from you. Give me boots, give me book, give me fire rod, and I don't know, Titan Mitts will say, and gave me 3 of them. I was like, all right. I wasn't actually expecting that.
Yeah, V29 pod, usually a little lower value than that, but this seed, we were shocked. Jenya was the first one into pod. He went to pod while you were in swamp, and then you guys kind of traded places and did the opposite dungeons. But when he was finishing up Pod, we said, wait, like, what are we still missing for Goma? We had to kind of completely step back and reassess what we thought of the seed because of how many items it had given you. We're like, wait, all we need is mitts. And so I bet that was a lot of fun as a runner, just experiencing that and being like, wait, where am I?
I will say that I was very irritated when I found them because I had gone and done like Catfish and Zora area, and I was like, am I going to take the trip up there, or am I just going to head straight to Desert after this? And I was like, unless Flute shows up, there's never going to be a good time to come up here to hand in the mushroom and stuff, so I'm just going to come up here first.
Yeah, and I kind of liked that call of pushing the fact that you had already gone and done Swamp and fully cleared it, gotten your mushroom, and just saying, okay, well, a chance for me to potentially still be in an advantaged position is to hit Zora's domain and get that mushroom turned in. So I totally understand why you would prioritize that over getting over Desert.
Yeah, at that point it was basically the case when I had cleared Thieves Town and there was literally nothing there. I was like, come on, V29, you always put items in pendant dungeons. As well as the left side of Swamp having nothing, I was like, okay, I need to do something really, really silly.
Yeah, this was very much not a quote-unquote typical V29 seed from that standpoint. No pendant items, no left side Swamp anything. The overworld was fine, but like all the good stuff was in Pod.
Yeah, this seed basically rewarded you for just doing the most efficient thing for a change.
Yeah, definitely a departure from typical seeds, but it was absolutely fun to watch. So,
it was a lot of fun to actually run and have that happen for once, as opposed to it being a case of, all right, let me full clear the map looking for one item. It's like, oh hey, it's here in Desert. Convenient, I was over here anyways.
Yeah. And how did you feel about the polarization of getting the Cane of Burna and finding that as your escape weapon, and then immediately finding your fighter's sword?
Okay, I absolutely had to use it while I was in escape anyways, because Blue Cane is my favorite escape item, so...
Okay, fair. I did not know that. Usually that's pretty low on runners' lists. I guess, may I ask why?
Because it's sparkly.
No more reason needed. That sounds like a good argument to me. It sparkles more than all of the other escape items, so...
I was actually kind of bummed out because I never had the Cane of Burna as my escape item, and I was like, yeah, great, get to experience the cane. Oh, dang. Well, I guess I'll take it.
Yeah.
The real reason I actually like it is in case you have to fight, like Blind, it does give you an invincibility item right off the start, since I've never bothered to learn the scripted blind fight, so if I can have something that just says, no, I'm just going to win this fight now, I really like having that before I get to Dark World, so...
That's a very good point, because I've had some of these seeds push me into like 4-heart green mail nothing Thieves Town, because you get Dark World access. You want to do Thieves Town because it's V29, and sometimes that can get a little dicey, especially if you don't know the script or get off script and are stumbling around blind trying to play bullet hell all of a sudden. That Cane of Burna can be really, really clutch.
Oh, I'm seeing my GT big key here. I was like, oh no. I don't know why I pulled out the mirror there. I don't know what I was doing when I mirrored out the left side.
Oh yeah, we saw you go up with no small key, and we're just like crossing our fingers for that small key. I'd forgotten that there was one in the mini Helmasaur room from when Jenja went through, and so that was it worked out.
I will admit that if there wasn't a small key up there, I was probably not going to finish. I did not want to do the gauntlet a second time.
I had that kind of in the back of my mind. I was like, if there's not a small key, I hope VoidbornBeast still finishes this one. But it looks like a 138 out of 216, so still a fairly low collection rate. So it was a nice seed.
Yeah, this map, me getting this time was basically all my fault. Just doing silly stuff like full clearing thieves and deciding to overworld when I should have been dungeoning.
To be fair, that's what V29 conditions you to do, and full clearing thieves is so seldom going to punish you.
I actually only did it because there's 3 items left after the front area, so I was like, wow, that is a lot of leftover items. At least I think there was, unless I failed to count. But I was really confused because I could have sworn I picked up the small key in the front. I was like, what?
Yeah, apparently you never went and got the key out of the pot.
Didn't I?
In the top
Did I not?
right before Blind's room. I missed it too. Chat was saying that you never went up and got the key out of the skull pot, and so you were left with this 50-50 of whether the 4th item was on Blind or whether you're gonna have to go back in for the big key chest.
Did I just fail to pick it up? Because I was up in that area and I was pretty sure I picked the pot up. Did I just not walk over it or something?
I would have to review it.
I
like
know for a
said,
fact I
missed
ran
it.
to that side, so I'm just curious if I missed picking it up or something.
It seems like an unusual thing to have happen, so I don't know.
Yeah, I'm guessing I just didn't go right enough.
Yeah, you got to the small key door without a small key, and I thought you'd gotten a small key in the front of Thieves Town as well, so I thought there were 3 items in the back, which makes sense that you would go and continue on if you've already done the first 4.
I'm really not sure why I didn't pick that key up, because, yeah, I definitely ran down the hall. I'm guessing I just didn't go far enough right when picking the pot up.
Either way, Thieves Town turning into a complete bust was one of the bigger disappointments, and it is one of the things that kind of set you behind a little bit, because Jenja never ended up getting back to that location.
Yeah, it's just a case of some V29 has this horrible tendency of being pretty mercurial with pendant dungeons. Sometimes there's like 3 or 4 items in them. Other times it's like, no, you don't have to go into them at all. There's literally nothing in them. It's like, damn you, V29.
I think the main reason why I didn't go into Thieves Town is because I found the hammer right next to it. And I was like, yeah, great. I can just go, take the south route through Dark World and then go back into Pod. And because I haven't done Pod before that. So I think that was the main reason I didn't go into Thieves Town.
That's really interesting, because me, naively, I kind of think of that as a reason to go into Thieves Town, being able to guarantee that I can get all the items. If I do end up with 3 in the back, that I'd be able to go and guarantee that I could get them.
But I mean, I knew that I didn't have the boots, and Thieves Town without boots is always really, really painful. And plus, it's a pendant dungeon, and if I have the choice between pendant Thieves Town or Crystal Pod, I will always go Crystal Pod. Plus, I also have the entire south route of Dark World. That was my main reasoning behind it. I don't know if I would have gone into Thieves Town without the hammer, but yeah, that's what pushed me towards going Pod.
And then, immediately getting the mirror as well, as you kind of started along that, and the flippers in the dig game, going overworld and doing the South Dark World route absolutely paid off very well.
Oh man, that mirror location was so convenient. I just picked that up. I was like, oh, okay, I'll just walk back down here and use it immediately.
Yeah, it was very conveniently placed. It would have been even more clutch if, K45 had the shovel. I was waiting for that to happen.
That would have been really silly because you would have just walked straight back up there. It's like, okay, I'm just going to run back and forth for a little bit picking stuff up.
Yeah, was there anything else that either of you wanted to comment on about the seed? I think we hit on a lot of the stuff that I wanted to kind of ask about and chat on.
Not really. I mean, the seed was really straightforward. It was really good, really good. But yeah, nothing to comment on the seed.
Seemed pretty simple to me as well. So
yeah, it made for a fun watch, and there was definitely some hype about where are the Titans mitts finally going to show up, and then we found them over on Desert Ledge. That was nice, but that's pretty much gonna do it for us here on Speed Gaming 4 for right now. I think at 8 p.m. Eastern, there's another race on this channel. It's gonna be Kelsey versus Fat Homie or PH at Home. I'm actually not sure. Gonna go PH at Home. Think he's a chemist. And so at 6 p.m. though, right now over on Speed Gaming 2, we have Umate Tsubasa versus BBB Kermit. At 7 p.m. we have, I believe it's going to be Kate versus Austin Dwill on Speed Gaming 3, and also Karaoke versus Iron over on ALTTP Randomizer. And there are races all tonight going 9, 10, 11:30, and then 3, 5, 6, and 9 a.m. So I don't know how many of those are going to get broadcast late at night. We're kind of constantly picking up restreams for extra races, but there's going to be tons and tons of content. I'll say again, GG to Jenja and VoidbornBeast. Jenja going to be 3-0 now in the tournament, or is 3-0 now in the tournament. VoidbornBeast going to be 2-1. Both runners. I look forward to a lot of meaningful matches for them down the stretch, as they have weeks 4 through 7 of the Swiss, and hopefully going to see them both playing again in the bracket stage of the tournament after round 7. I've been Maniacal. I want to thank Kles Hayabusa for joining me on commentary and co-commentating with me today. It was a lot of fun. I'll let you shut it down for us, Kles.
Yeah, thank you very much as well, Maniacal. I had a very, very good time. Blessed watching this match. Of course, very, very good luck to Jenja and VoidbornBeast in their remaining spring tournament careers. Also, I want to thank our tracker, Wolflink, for tracking the race with us together today. And of course, thanking you, the viewers, for watching this awesome race with us together. We're signing off right now. Hopefully we'll see you again soon. Bye-bye.